We will try to revise what we did yesterday, and yeah, if you have any questions, you can ask. But I think if you have tried the assignments, you would have got the point already. So I request you guys to work on assignments because that's where you sort of get into problems, and then when you solve the problems, you learn something. Okay, so yeah, all the coding that we learn is by trial and error. So if you do not face errors, it inhibits your learning. Okay, okay. So yesterday we learned about APIs and how we were able to connect to weather API. So we are trying to so our our project consists of I think 3 or 4 modules. One is to fetch weather data. Other is news. And next week we will work with calendars and calendar. And then we will also learn how to send a mail via Python. And then and probably to do tasks to do this. You can create tasks and then keep it either in the database or on a JSON file that we have seen so far. Okay, so we're going to aggregate all of these parts, and this is our source code base. So first thing is to identify. First thing is to identify at coding level. First thing is to identify the components, and then we should understand how they communicate. Okay, so if you really look at it, so far the news API connects via on the internet on HTTP, but it is web scraping, which is like we are scraping HTML pages. Okay. So this is the interface, and weather data we are trying to use HTTP, of course. On top of it, these are called REST APIs. Okay. The reason that they are called REST APIs is because um, um, when you use a protocol, generally what happens is you have a server and you have a client, and when you make connection with a server and fetch some data and keeps doing some operations like get, update, whatever. So at the server end, if it creates a connection and if it keeps track of client's states, for example, what he has done. So say you're downloading say 2 GB file from server. So probably your internet does not or on the internet in one go, it's difficult to download entire 2 GB. So of course your browser does it, but internally what happens is browser has a code that divide this file into, if it's big file, uh, downloads chunk by chunk like this. Okay. And if server keeps track of what is happening, how much data is being sent, so such protocols or such architectures are called as states. State Okay, these are called as states. So this is called as stateful architecture. Okay. So if server does not keep these states, so the actions of the client or any data related to client, except the authentication, bare minimum headers. So that is called as stateless. Stateless. So one of the architecture of stateless is REST. Okay. So you can look up what complete REST does. So that is like a very basic understanding of what is a REST API. So generally, when you send a request, and for that request, you get a response in JSON. Most of the times, depends on like what it is programmed to do. So if you have a JSON, it's like structured data, right? So yesterday we saw that. So we have a structure, and then we can parse those data types. Okay. So this interface is REST API. So these are most used in in the industry, or most of the services that you connect and access. So they have similar structure. So that is the reason I'm trying to teach. So JSON file handling and web scraping, and then to do is this is just a within in your program you have an interface. This is just mere function calls. Okay, so this is just to learn about function calls and inputs. So you're going to input, right? So it's like your name, and we did name and age and things like that. So you can also write a program to take to add a to-do list for the day. So similar way. Okay, and then working with calendars. This also works like REST APIs. So this and this are this is to understand like how you can. Google is a service provider, right? So within that, Google Calendar is one of the products they have. How to access that product, and how to add, delete, and manage your calendar, like add meetings, get the list of meetings, and so on. And mail is something which works on a different protocol. Okay, I think this is probably REST API. So I haven't explored, but yeah, I'm most likely it is REST API. And on mail, it is not HTTP. We will see next week. On mail, it is um, SMT. So there is different protocol. Okay, simple mail transfer protocol, something like that. We will see how it works, and we'll understand the components of the mail, and then we are going to code that into our project, and then make it work. So connecting these dots is uh, so until you have this picture, do not start writing the code. So today we will do two things. One is we will continue from yesterday's fetching weather data. I'll show you. So yesterday we were stuck in a place where that particular service provider have a different mechanism to activate the keys. So I got a mail later saying that you have generated a API key and it will be activated. So I think now it must have been activated, but I didn't wait for that. I used another provider and did the same thing. And yeah, it has got limited access. That is like, I think 20 requests per month or something like that. But yeah, I was able to do, I'll show you that. And we can parse that. And then we will do this part where we did an exercise. If you remember, we did an exercise in prompt engineering session where we um, created folder structure and basic architecture diagrams for a cybersecurity project. So we will do the same exercise here. And what I want you guys to do is repeat the same exercise, and we have a GitHub repository, right? So clone the code from my repository. You can clone that code. It's a public repository, so you can do git clone, or you can go to UI and clone it. And then you create your own branch in your own name. So I'll add the tasks anyways, but this is what we want to do. So this is my code. So say my code base, and then you can branch out uh, in your own name, like Yashwant Bhuvan. Branch it out and write your own code, um, generate using AI, and then make it work, and then push your code to the main branch. So I have um, created it here in the main branch. And say, imagine this is my main branch. So you can you can push that in. Okay. So probably on different timelines. So then it will be like a simulating, teamwork in a company, and then you'll be able to uh, work with different open source project. If you are a student, if you are a working professional, you will be able to like get into development. So this exercise, I strongly suggest that you guys do this. So it will connect the dots that we have learned. So okay, that is about revision and what we are going to do. So let us get back to our code. Okay. So as you see, I haven't typed any line of the lines uh, in the entire bootcamp. So I have asked to generate. So similarly, yesterday I did some research and found this particular API which can work for us. So it's a similar thing that yesterday we saw. It has URL. So parameters are being sent. Look at parameters. Where are the parameters being sent? Here, request get. So this is equivalent to accessing a website. Okay, so you send a get request and you get a response. So you see a page that is loaded on your browser. That is response here. Instead of HTML, you have got a JSON. That's all. Okay. So if everything is okay, we return the data, which is uh, this. This is the data that it is throwing out. Okay, so I have executed this. So how do you parse? Uh, so if you want to stop a program in between the execution and want to step through, just like if you have worked in C, C++ or Java, so there are modules for each of these, something called as debuggers. So similarly, in Python, we have a Python debugger. So I'll show you how it is done. For example, I want to find out before, of course, you can do it in AI, but I want to show how the debugger works and introduce it to debugger. So this is our code. Uh, fetch. What is happening here? I paste it randomly. Okay, let me run it once more. Yeah. So I ran it and I got this response. So when it outputs like this, so you do not, you feel that I do not have control. I wish I could uh, step through this and step by step I could, get into the lines of the code. So there is a way to do that. So in Python, there is something called as PDB, so which is Python debugger, as I was explaining. So for example, I want to make a write a line of code, or I want to understand this structure. Okay, so because I want the data that I want is that it's not easily accessible at this place. So I want to learn the structure of this data. Okay, so it's like there is a dictionary here or a JSON output. There is like request in the top of the tree, and then there is one more dictionary, and then you have location and all these things. Finally, probably I want some details related to um, this, say, air quality and sunset, and probably there is temperature. I haven't looked at everything, but I'll show you how. Okay. So one thing you can do for JSON files is I'll just create some when you get this sort of data, um, output.json. So you can see that the moment I put .json, so this IDE, that is integrated development environment tool, so which is VS Code. See, it automatically puts some icon here, which is easy for developers to understand what is happening. Okay. So I'm going to copy this, copy the output, and simply paste it here. So um, this is it. This is not yet a proper JSON, because every JSON that you represent, it should have double quotes and things like that. Okay, so you can uh, so what I generally do is I replace these quotes into double quotes and do that, but you don't have to do that. What you can do is I have dictionary uh, output, convert this to JSON. Okay, let me see if it works. Okay, so we got to learn how to walk through this. Okay, it has given some. Okay, it's still giving. It, it's giving us a snippet. It has. We can take the snippet and run it. So let me just take this snippet because we already have. We already have the JSON here. Okay, I'll just paste this. So output.json, right, indent for this part of the code takes this output, which is a dictionary term, and creates a JSON out of it. Okay. So let me just clear this. Let me try to run it again. That is, let's see if it works. Okay. So it says JSON not defined. The reason is obviously I not imported JSON. See, it knows, it is aware of what you are doing. So in agent mode, it will automatically fix it. So the coding part has become really easy. Okay. Let us look at it as executed, which means I have accessed this one and this is successful. Let us look at output.json. So here we have JSON file here. So the difference between JSON file and the dictionary is JSON file is on the disk, and when you by default dictionaries, when you get from somewhere, it will have like single quotes. It will have this some there is some format, but you can easily convert that using the snippet that I used. Okay, so so this particular format gives you fair enough structure to find out where is the data that I'm looking for. Say, for example, I want to look at humidity. So let us try to find humidity for the inputs that I have already given. So that latitude and longitude has, so it also gets the location and all these things. But I want to access this particular uh, humidity part. Okay. So easy thing that you can do is write a snippet to print humidity humidity from this snippet to print humidity. Let's see if it does. So if you draw the structure, humidity is in like you have request, location, and if it's now you have to like scroll through, and then you see that okay, this is here in the second node. This is your like top node. We have nothing, and then there is one node under that, another node, which is a like a sibling node. It's another sibling node, and this is the place we can find it. So this is your mental structure. So it's difficult to find out. By this is a quite simple JSON. So you might have a lot of levels. So probably you want to in order to get here. Now you understood the structure. You want to sort of stop the program and actually get hold of those elements by yourself. So most of the times, you'll have to do this for a given JSON if it's a big file. So this is this will get you clarity. So let me use one thing called as here. I'll use a inbuilt function called as breakpoint. Okay, so I'll set the breakpoint. So what this breakpoint does is I'll demo it and then we will understand. So you can see that now previously the program had executed like this without any break. So, but here you can see it has given a new prompt called as PDB, and then it has stopped there. So in order to continue, there are different commands. I'll just show you the commands what are available, and we'll just look at some of them which are helpful to us. So as I was explaining to you in one of the classes, right? So what CPU does is it looks for it has every CPU has got an instruction pointer. Okay, so this is a CPU instruction pointer. So this is the interface that from RAM it picks up that part of the code and execute this. So it at machine level, of course, it just goes by line by line. Okay, so at machine level, everything is interpreted. So when you write a program and load it here, so what happens is it is converted to assembly level and then it is converted to executable, right? That is what we saw. And then we load that program, operating system loads that program onto the RAM, and then it reads chunk by chunk. So that chunks are sent or read by this particular instruction pointer. So what we are trying to do is we are stopping the execution and then halting that program's execution. And then we are trying to catch hold of that particular instruction pointer. When it tries to read, we are stopping that. So it is like waiting here to do something. So if you look at the process inside the operating system, so if you have the operating system here, there are like several hundreds or thousands of programs running in your operating system, right? So Zoom is running, and there are several terminals that I have opened. There are browsers and so on. So out of this is just one of the programs. Okay, I'll show you in terminal. I'll close this. Um, you can see that there is one of the programs that is running in TTY here. TTY is nothing but terminal, and it has stopped. So this is like just like right clicking at in Windows, right clicking and looking at task manager. You can also use one more command called as top. So when you open the top, it looks like this. So and it tells there are several information like PID is process ID. So every process in the operating system has got a process ID, and what command you are running. You can see that there is Zoom, there is kernel, terminal. There are so many programs here. So this is similar to your task manager in Windows. And since Mac OS is underlying operating system is a Linux kernel, so we can use all the commands that is available in Linux on Mac as well. So you can see like CPU, all this other information. Okay, so it is out of scope. I don't want to get deep into that, but I'm trying to explain what happens to your program when you stop the program using this sort of debuggers. So it has stopped there. So that is why you see the process there. So when we run the program, so it sort of finishes the program and exits the program, right? So now we have halted that. So instruction pointer for this particular program is just put on hold. So for internally for operating system, it is called as an interrupt and it is waiting. Okay. So let us look at these things. So one of the commands is to list, so that there is also shortcut. Either you can type list completely or you can simply do L. So this will give you where you are, and it will show what is the current line of execution that is under the execution. It is going to be executed. And you can also C is for continue the program. Like if you press C, it's like asking to okay, finish the execution. Like either stop at next breakpoint or just finish the program if there is no breakpoint. So continue is the command, but shortcut is C. And since we have written some functions, so there are a lot of functions involved here, right? For example, requests.get itself is one function under request.py module. Okay. And then there is inside JSON.py or JSON module, there is dump function. And fetch weather data itself is a function which we have written. So there are several functions. So it so happens that you might want to step into the function. So if you do not step into the function, what happens is when you press, when you say execute next line, it will just skip this function. For example, if I say from here, execute next line, so it will execute this. And again, if I give the command execute this, so that command to execute the next line is this command next. Shortcut is N. A, B, C, D, P, Q, R, S, T, where is N? Yeah, somewhere. Forget it. Here. Yeah. So if you press N, it will go to next line. So next line, and it will skip the function. So if you press N again, it won't get into the function, but it will just execute this function and it goes here. So there are, it is common to jump into this function and see what is happening, because so many times you have to see, for example, while debugging, it is possible that you want to look at the URL. If some function is changing the URL, whether the URL is correct or whether these parameters are correct, what are the parameters? And also you can simulate override these parameters and see the behavior so that you can write better code and so on. So that is why it is called a debugger. So, yeah. So this is one of the tools developers should be aware of. So any language has got its own debugger. C language has GNU debugger, which is called as GDB. Um, and I think Java has its own JDB, and PDB is for, this is called as Python debugger. So that is what you're seeing here. That's a program written to do these sort of things. So these are the comments. Okay. And what else? You can also jump from one line to another line. For example, I am at line number 17. I want to jump at 28 line number. You can use jump command here and just give J and line number. So it will jump from here to here. So it will skip all these things and execute line number 28. Okay. So we'll look at this. So I hope you have understood what is a debugger and what happens underneath in a very sort of a headline sort of an understanding. So yeah, if you want to understand what happens to the process, yeah, you can read about it. But yeah, this is good enough for starting. So let us execute some commands. So I have stopped the program. Program is like halted. So operating system is waiting for some input. So that is the interrupt. So L is a command which lists lines of code. So you can see that it has, by default, it has printed out 10 lines of code from 22 to 32. Okay. So you can also configure this, but yeah, but this is but default settings are good enough. So L gives this, and you can see this arrow mark. This arrow mark is the one what we are calling as instruction pointer. So it's like, okay, this is the line. I have hit this line. I have executed this line, and I am at this line. So if you press next, that is N or next, so it will go to this line and execute it. So let us execute a couple of lines. Now it has executed this line. Now let us try to see lines again. You can see that we started from here, breakpoint, and when you press next, so we are at this line number. So this tool is good for, for example, at this moment, I want to analyze what does data contain. Okay. So I'll just type data. Okay. So you can see that this is a variable which is containing this data. If you just type variable name, so it can take commands and variable names, right? So all of the things are available here. So this is the data. Okay. So for example, I want to look at, say, what does requests have? A request. You can see that I have just got hold of that particular element in nested dictionary or multi-level dictionary and have got this line, which is nothing but what we saw on visually pleasing format here. This is called as pretty print. So printing it in a way that humans can read, because this has got levels and there are highlights and all these things. So this sort of printing is called as pretty printing. So I think when you dump here, so you can see that we have given some indent and all these things. So it says that indent is equal to 4 means for every indent, use 4 spaces to indent so that humans can understand. That's what we are doing here. Okay, so yeah, this is the use of PDB, and to access the element that we want, I think we wanted humility. So let us try to find where it is. So that I look at this dump here and see that, okay, it's not there in request. Probably I will just look at what is the type of data. You can see that it's a dictionary because the output is parsed as a dictionary. And then you can say, what are keys. We can, so now we have got just the keys. Keys are nothing but this request, location, and current, and so on. So these are not the keys. So, and then you can do something like values, check the values if it's present. You can see that within this values, I'm able to see this particular, in this particular, I can see humidity, which means I can simply access data. Where is it? Okay, one more level. That okay, under the current. Let me try to access that. So this is how you sort of try to debug and find out what is the structure. Okay. There's a type. We have successfully accessed that particular element, which is nothing but, if you look at JSON, this particular humidity is in like second level, because you can see that this is the first level and this is the second level. So if you just click on that, this line gets highlighted in your ID and you can find out. So there could be times where you won't have access to this and you want to find out like what is the structure. So you can use PDB in such cases. So not just for this, and anything. For example, you want to find out, so let me look at the lines of code. So if you press L twice, what it does is it prints next set of lines. So you can see that there is no instruction pointer because we have already printed lines. Okay. Now I'm going to execute next, and let's see what happens to the next. Now you can see that we are at this part. Okay, so you can also look at say I want to see details of this variable. Just you can see that that's a of type file, and there is name and what is the mode and these things. Okay. So this is how you can analyze variables and stop the program and get into execution. Okay. So let me. Okay. So we are at line number 82. We can actually jump to. Let me try to jump to 81. So you can see that we were at 82, but I'm able to like um, the previous line. You can jump to any other line. So now we are here. So since I know that I'm here, I want to jump into this function. So it's like stepping in to that function. Okay. So that is that command is S. S is you can also do step step, and you can see that it prints this function. Okay, this is where we are, and let us try to go through this function. Where is that? Yeah. This function. This is where we are at the moment. Okay. So I'm going to print or not print, step through next line of that in this one. So you can see that it has not executed this part, but it is aware of this part. So this is a string which is hanging here, which is a doc string. So soon after this, it has come here at line number 16. This is what we are seeing. And if you press L again, you can see that instruction point is at L. So at this point, you can actually change, for example, this is my URL. You want to try, okay, if this is not working, you want to try, say different URL. You can actually override this variable using this. I can say Control C, Control V. I can do current old, something like this. This is not, of course, may not be available, but I'm just overwriting a variable. Okay. And then use this overwritten this one variable in the rest of the program. So this these things you won't be able to do in a running program, right? So it's like without this debugger, you'll have to print each of the variables, print on the screen or on the logging, and then use it. But PDB gives you ability to jump into the program, and then just like how the program executes internally, you can actually do by yourself, so that you step through all the code, okay, and so on. And then let me press continue, which will execute the whole thing. And of course, the URL is wrong; it won't fetch, I guess. Yeah, it went to, it stopped there. You can see that other stuff. Yeah, it finished its execution. So this is the error that we got because we changed the URL. So that is about PDB. Okay, so we have learned a lot of things which are not in like in the original this one list of the topics that I had seen, but that's the way I want to teach, because you get into a topic, you do something, and then try to understand what could be the problems that people generally face, and then jump into the topic and then come back. So that will give you the context, and it will help you to remember for a long time. So that is about PDB. So of course you can do this using AI tools as well, but you won't have the visibility as you are doing. For example, you want to stop somewhere and then you want to change a variable. Your Copilot won't be able to do that. Okay. But in agent mode, it will just look at the error and it will try to fix it by itself, and then it will go on coding. Okay. So okay, that is about how to parse the JSON output, and how to use PDB. Now let us try to do one exercise. I want you to repeat this exercise in your on your laptop, and try to create a project. So let us try to write down the project. These things are done. So let us try to create a project folder. So before doing anything, so first step is that you want to understand the project requirements, right? So requirements are pretty simple for us, which is like you want to come up with uh, a subscription product where you get news and list of to do for the day. So probably you can use this module or component to update calendar, and there are also like calendar items already existing, calendar, and the news to do calendar. What else? Send a mail, and yeah, and the weather data. So we were working. So these are the different things or features that your subscription service has. So first list down what you want, and then tell to an LLM, which is like generic LLM, and use this list of features to brainstorm. And spend at least, so if you give this to the LLM, any like open APIs or this one, what is that, chat GPT. So it will of course give you in a nice format. It will, in the first go, it comes up with it looks like neat, but you got to read through it and then remodify it, and this process is called iteration. So it might give you additional features which are not required. So for example, it might think that if you give this, it might think that you want to make a service which is in a distributed uh, server, which is like each services are running in different services. So in one of the first classes we saw this. So, and then this could be microservices and so on. Okay, so it can assume such things. So you might not want this sort of architecture, but you just want a simple monolithic piece, and you might want to iterate that. Okay, good that you have given this, but I don't need this. I want a simple project which is running here. So that is something which you need to watch out. So that is where you iterate and brainstorm and make sure that it is not deviating too much, and you are getting what you want out of it. So this is your first step. So then what you do is, of course, you can use the same LLM or same um, model to brainstorm, and then you take that brainstorming documents, and there are different LLMs, so that you get used to them. For example, Manus or DeepSeek somewhere, and yeah, I'll just take these two examples. These are LLMs, and put this requirement or brainstorming document. So the input is brainstorming document, that is text, and ask it to um, come up with uh, requirements documents. Okay, requirement documents which can be further delegated to software teams. Okay, so come up with architecture, requirement documents, and so on. So once this is done, so you might have heard about cloud or cloud. It's a French word. So you can ask cloud to generate code for this. Okay, and ask in a way that the first process or the first iteration that you are trying to do, you understand what it does, because it has a lot of capability and it will just blurt out a lot of things. So ask it, and ask it to get, first thing is code structure, and then analyze the code structure, and then you ask it to put some skeleton code. Okay, skeleton code. First you do this code structure, and then commit the code, which we have seen in Git class. So it was mostly like theory, but it's quite simple, because now you'll get used to that. So if you get into any problems, yeah, try to resolve it using any of this chat GPT or anything like that, and then we can discuss if you do not get it, because the concept wise we are okay. We have already studied. So what you should do is, first code structure, after you generate the code structure, commit it. Okay, because once you commit it, it's like you have the record. It Git will keep the record of what you have committed, and then in second level, after give it some time, because what happens is, it's like you have started to do some craft work or painting or something like that. So you have a lot of paints, and uh, there are a lot of ideas that is coming in, and then you start, if you do not have the structure and the goal, what you do is you just pick up pens and keep doing things, and it will become an abstract art, which means that there is no structure for that, uh, compared to the real world or realistic paintings. And then it's difficult to decipher, right? So that is what is happening in today's world in terms of code as well. So if these parts are something which most of the newbies or guys who are not used to this, they will miss it. So these parts you do it, and then next is skeletal code. And then what you can do is, you just pick one module, just pick a module that we have already worked through, which is weather and news, any one of this, and try to generate code for only this module. Do not get into other modules, just one module, and make sure that you're getting the output that you have decided. So do not write any code by yourself. So because if you are asking it properly, like step by step, so for example, code structure, you generate the code structure, skeleton code. So you tell that skeletal code is nothing but there is no implementation, but you have like function names and model names and things like that. And then you fill up those one by one. You test them. I'll also demonstrate what is unit testing in next week. But yeah, so just for now, until this process, you do this, pick up a model and write the code. Fourth is to come up with tests. So when you come up with tests, do not ask GPT to say generate simply generate unit tests for my functions here. Okay. So what this will do is it will blurt out a lot of code. Most of the code will be, it is sensible, but you should ask specifically that, okay, I want to test this particular function and this is the output that I'm expecting, write some tests. So at every point of time, you should be knowing two things. One is um, what is going in, that is, this is like a black box for you, and what is going in and what you are expecting out of it. Okay. So input and output, you should be having a clear idea about these two things. At whether it is brainstorming level, whether you are generating requirements, or you are generating code, or you are writing. So this is three, or you're writing tests. And then finally, we'll also deploy it in the sense that it can, once you make it work on your own laptop, you can also make it work on a cloud place or some other computer. So we will do this as well later, but this is still far. Okay. So once you do this entire thing, you will have almost as uh, good experience as like somebody who is working 6 months or an intern. Okay. So you'll have this much knowledge, and if you're already coming from industry, you'll have like uh, you can connect the dots for your own project and do this. Okay, you already you know the process, and then you can do it better. So let us try to do this now, like in 5 minutes. It's a good enough time for us. Okay, so but do a lot of iteration. So do not stop at one place. So if I want to brainstorm about my service, I would like this subscription service, I would do something like this. Okay, I have features, um, um, fetches news from popular websites, um, fetch weather from API. So you can also specify the API, but yeah, from APIs, popular APIs or something like that. Popular APIs. You can see that when I say popular APIs, it's vague. It's not like specific whether it should go to Open API or Open Weather API or something like that. But this is how you brainstorm it. It should be vague enough to get ideas. It should not be too vague that you get lost. Okay, so there should be some sort of balance. Um, Fetch weather data flows, and then you should be able to uh, add tasks to calendar, um, or better fetch tasks from calendar from say Google Calendar. Calendar is good enough. Calendar, and then send mail every day or configure timings. Okay, these are just the features. So I'm going to try to okay, this is the features I'm expecting. I'm also going to ask it what I'm trying to do. Okay, so that's like context setting. So um, so what is my role when you try to brainstorm uh, about a product? So I am say product uh, owner, or you can also say as a product owner as or act as a product owner who wants to build a web subscription service that has following features. Okay, so there are some things which are vague. I'll come back to that features. So this is you have a role, you have something to ask. This is the task, and you can also give constraints. But at this moment, I want to brainstorm, so I want things to be open. But be aware of those things. So I'm going to copy this and go to GPT. Uh, yeah, I'm going to start this new chat, and I'm going to say paste that. Yeah. So you have to read through this. It has to create a personal daily digest, news, okay. Tailored, timely, convenient. Okay, this is what I want. Target users. So this part, you can see that these are new ideas which are coming from Chat GPT, but I have not asked. So it is good to be vague in a way that you are open for new ideas, right? So yeah, professionals and all these things. So with these new ideas, you can also like create new features later, but don't get sucked into it. So, but just make a note, or else you'll keep doing just like I was telling, like some kid who is not aware of doing painting in a professional way. So he or she will just mix paintings and then dirty the canvas. So that's just for like playing, but as a professional, you should be planning the canvas and things like that, right? So this is exactly what we are trying. And also you should be open to new ideas. So that is what it is giving, and we're probably going to ignore it or use it later. So these are the core features. So these are the user stories. User stories are nothing but from so since we have given this role as a product owner, so in terms of corporate structure, right? So these are called features and user stories. Stories are parts where you under one story you can have a lot of different tasks and hand it over to product development teams. Okay, so this is what we are trying to do. Okay, news fetching user story as a user. I want to okay, you can. So this is how the requirement comes from product owner to the architect or software engineer. In a small company, like it's not, there are not too many levels, but just understand that there is business analyst, there is product owner, there is architect, and then there is development team, and then there is testing team. So okay, you have got user story, implement these ideas. Okay, this is RSS. So you can see that this part or use RSS feeds, but I don't want this. So when you brainstorm, so carefully look at it, and you should be able to chop things which you don't want. Okay, so this is something which I don't want. Let users select topics. Do you want this feature or not? And then you can decide later. So you can select the topics, and probably you will develop an UI later and things like that. Weather update, calendar tasks. scheduled email delivery and all these things. Okay. So let us just do one exercise. What happens when you're available? Okay. I'll go here. Okay. I'll just do it in um, I'll just copy paste it here in Lovable. Build a subscription app with below requirements. Okay. I'll just paste this and yeah, let it keep working. We can see that the requirements are put here. So it feels like you have given enough requirements. I'll show you the like pitfalls of doing this. So we are at a level where we are brainstorming, and you feel like okay, this is good enough for product, and then you just want to get it done. Okay, that is what I'm trying to do. So it's like I'm acting as an impatient developer, and see what happens. Okay. Okay, so let's come back here and do the brainstorming at it as it works. And take this, copy this, and copy it to your notepad. So I'm going to copy it here, paste it here. Okay, and then I'm going to like pick things only I want. So as I was telling, I don't want this user story as I user. Okay, summarize the busy individuals start. Okay, weather update calendar tasks. Okay, so you need to go line by line. But I'm as you can see, I can I'm trying to chop down the requirements, and then okay, to fetch today's agenda, HTML support, summary of the mail, and all this. Use SendGrid or Amazon ACS for sending mails, but I don't want this. I probably want, say, simple Google Gmail, because this is acceptable. Everyone has a Gmail, I guess. So these are roadmaps. Okay, so this I don't need this. Okay, so I'm going to cut this off. MVP text stack, and at the moment, I don't want to worry about tech stack at all. So tech stack are the tools which you can use. So because I have not asked it to develop in a particular uh, you know um, language or anything. So this part I don't want to take it as is. So I'm going to like cut this off, because at this point of time I don't want to discuss about tech stack at all, because I want to make sure that my um, design or architecture is strong. So once I have this, and then I can come up with tech stack later, and then ask it to come up with this. So what it is assuming is maybe it is, but I want APIs instead of JavaScript, whatever it is trying to develop. So I can again go back to brainstorming and say that I do not want UI, but each of these features should have a backend API with clear um, parameters defined. Okay, so at this moment, I am. This is what is called as iteration. Okay, so you can see that now it has come up with APIs. Okay, register API, user management, and so on. So you can do the same exercise. You can copy this thing, put it here. It takes time. You can see that even though you're getting these things done in a matter of seconds, but in order to build something, you need to actually like go through each one of them, and then it's like cutting off things. Okay, so remember that analogy that I was saying. So Doordarshan and Netflix. Doordarshan, one program used to come, so we rush and see that one program because we already know which program is going to be telecasted. So now in Netflix, there are so many things that is coming on your screen. So if you do not have the plan, you'll just keep browsing for half an hour or 1 hour and then watch nothing and then sleep off. So exactly that. So in order to solve this problem, what you need to do is probably collect uh, you know um, your interests. For example, if you want to watch suspense thrillers, make a list of suspense thrillers, put it into playlist, and then watch one by one, schedule it, and then watch it. So that cuts you off from just randomly browsing and doing nothing. So exactly the same thing that we are trying to do. You have got a lot of options, and then you're cutting things off, and then picking things that you want. So you are coming out of something called as decision fatigue. So in psychological terms or in a medical terms, it's called decision fatigue. So you have a lot of items. You don't know which one to choose. Okay. So this is what happens. There are other real world examples. For example, shopping. So if you know that I want blue jeans of this particular brand, you just go there and pick it and come back. But if you do not know, you just have pant in your mind, you'll see all types of pants, and then you'll hop different shops, and then end up buying nothing because like, okay, I didn't like it, and then probably I don't want to go back and so on. Okay. So this you might have experienced it already. So that is the problem that we are facing today in terms of software as well. So now you have iterated once, but you can I would say iterate at least 5 times, so that your brainstorming becomes good. Okay, let us look at lovable. Okay, let's see what it's doing. Spinning preview. Okay, that's almost finished. Yeah, just stay with me for 1 more minute. Then look at the preview. It's still making it. You can also look at what it is doing in terms of code. So we have got a lot of features. I think it's taking time. Just wait. Let's wait for a couple of minutes. So if you have any questions, please feel free to ask, and yeah, do that exercise. So go to GitHub, my repository, which is this, which I have already been sharing so far. And you can go here, click on like clone. Okay. And you can go to either terminal, or this can be even done on your IDE. So any IDE that you have, it generally comes up has this feature, this part. So if you just click on this, so this is already configured. So it will ask you to like open a new Git repository or create a new repository and things like that. So on your command line, just go there and create a folder and then just copy paste what we have got. So this is the link that I have copied from the Git repository, and this is the command git clone. If you just enter this, it'll start cloning it. Cloning in a sense, downloading it. It's similar to downloading a file. So you can see that it has downloaded at this place. Okay. So I'm going to do that, and you can do this on other terminal as well. So I'm going to open a new window. Okay. And then I'm going to, so you can see when you open a new window, you can either do the same thing here. Like if you do clone repository, you can do this. Or if you have it already, go to open. Now I have downloaded in, I think, documents. Where was it? Documents, projects by AI. Documents, projects. Where is documents? Documents here. Projects. This is my repository. So I want to open the top repository. Click on that. Just open. So once I have it, where is it? Where did it go? Did I click close or something? Is it this? Okay, let close this close window. Open folder. Is it coming here? Okay, it's already open here, I guess. Yeah. Let me put it. Oh yeah, it's already open here. Yeah. So you can see that these are the things which I already have here. And then if I modify something here, say hi, something like this, save it. So in this place, it will detect the files that are changed automatically. So, and then you can actually, take this and commit it. So this is all by UI. So there are commands that we discussed, but you can do it by UI as well. So this is the exercise that I want you guys to do. Let us just look at Lovable. Yeah, look at this. So it has already finished doing and building an app with just that brainstorming this one. So if you look at this, how beautiful it looks. So on UI, this is what we want to do. Somebody want to come and build a come and log in and so on. Okay, features, pricing. So this all these things we have not specified, but it has it also came up with logo design and all these things. So this is crazy. But if you want to jump into this, UI is okay, and then you want to make some changes and you want to build APIs, you want to provide this service as API as a service or anything like that. What happens is you won't be able to change the code. It's like it looks beautiful, beautiful product, good, but do you have the control to be able to make it as a product and change the features as it evolves? So this particular structure is what you need to have in mind. So please follow the structure what we discussed and try to build. So you can use this as well, like and see what it comes up with, and also you can see that what sort of mess you will get into if you do not have the plan. So this is one app. There is also other app called as Replit. So there are several apps you can look at. Replit. So you can go to replit.com and you can do the same thing. This is called vibe coding, and yeah, people are doing this already. Yeah. Okay, thanks for staying. Yeah, that's it for today's class. Yeah. Have a great day. See you.